Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a quiet revolution that's shaking the foundations of the global economy. It's a secret war, and it's not being fought with armies, but with bars of solid gold. So just imagine the price of your morning coffee nearly doubling in a single year. That's pretty much what we're seeing with gold right now. It has just exploded, jumping from around $2,600 an ounce to over $4,000. A surge like that sends some serious shockwaves through the financial world. And here's where it gets really fascinating. This isn't just the work of a few hedge fund billionaires making a big play. No, the fingerprints on this massive gold rush, they belong to entire nations, and they are literally redrawing the map of global economic power as we speak. Okay, let's peel back the layers here, because this isn't just about a number going up on a chart. This is about the tectonic plates of global power shifting right under our feet. A 50% leap like this is no accident. It's not some random market whim. It's the calculated result of a global alliance of countries all methodically stockpiling gold like they're preparing for a long, cold financial winter. So what we're witnessing is gold's big transformation. It's going from this passive, safe thing you buy when you're nervous into an actual offensive weapon, a tool that countries are using to rewrite the rules of the entire global financial game. And that brings us to the core idea, the revolutionary concept that's fueling this whole fire. It's something called de-dollarization. You know, for decades, the US dollar has basically been the sun in the global financial solar system. Everything revolved around it. But de-dollarization is like the rise of new planets, each with its own gravity, all starting to challenge the dollar's long-held spot in the center of everything. And here's the real bombshell. For the first time in almost 30 years, the world's central bankers are looking at U.S. government bonds, and they're choosing solid gold instead. They're systematically cashing in their paper promises for the timeless security of actual physical metal. So who exactly are the architects of this new golden age? Let's take a closer look at the main players taking the stage in this global drama. This whole movement is really being spearheaded by the BRICS nations and their allies. And they're buying gold at a pace that has absolutely shattered all previous records. I mean, they're accumulating more in just the last few years than they did in the entire decade before that. Leading the pack are China, India, and Russia. Get this. China is on a relentless 10-month gold buying spree. India, in just 1 year, snatched up 40 tons of gold while dumping $15 billion in U.S. bonds. And Russia has built what you can only call a golden fortress, a war chest of over 2,300 tons. And here's just a quick snapshot of their collective power. In just 1 quarter of this year, the BRICS nations alone bought a staggering 166 tons of gold. This is not a series of isolated moves. This is a unified, strategic pivot away from the old system. And make no mistake, this is not a short-term trend. For 3 straight years, central banks around the world have been on a gold-buying binge, picking up over 1,000 tons annually. To put that into perspective for you, that's almost a third of all the gold mined globally each year being taken completely off the market. It's a huge long-term shift. So this brings us right to the heart of the mystery, right? Why this sudden, coordinated rebellion against the dollar? What is the real motive behind this global gold rush? Well, the answer really lies in a broken promise. The dollar's entire reign was once built on a solid foundation of gold. But back in 1971, that foundation was pulled out, leaving the dollar to float on a sea of just trust. And today, after decades of growing debt and the use of financial sanctions, that sea is getting pretty stormy and nations are scrambling for the life rafts. And those life rafts are made of gold. You know, one analyst put it perfectly. He said gold has shed its reputation as just some luxury item and has been reforged into the world's new financial shield. It's become an essential defense against the storms of economic uncertainty. So let's just unpack the motives real quick. First, it's about financial sovereignty, the desire to be the captain of your own economic ship. Then there's the need for a shield against the dollar being used as a weapon through sanctions. And finally, it's just about finding a safe harbor in the really turbulent waters of modern geopolitics. And it's not just the BRICS nations either. Look at Poland, right in Europe, snapping up almost 50 tons of gold in a single quarter as a defense against regional conflict. This is a crystal clear sign of a global pandemic of doubt in the current financial system. So, what does this all mean for the future? Well, we are not just watching a market trend play out. We are literally witnessing the birth of a new financial world order. Right now, the US dollar makes up about 58% of global reserves. But if this de-dollarization avalanche keeps going, that share could plummet to just 40% by 2030. And that's not just a crack in the dam, that's a potential collapse of the whole structure. This could literally split the world into two competing financial empires. On one side, you'd have the dollar bloc, Western nations and their allies kind of clinging to the old system. And on the other, a gold and currency bloc, this rising power led by the BRICS nations, building a whole new system on a foundation of gold and their own local currencies. And this isn't just about hoarding some shiny metal in a vault. The endgame here could be a completely revolutionary new kind of money, a gold-backed digital currency. An innovation like that wouldn't just challenge the dollar, it would be a direct assault on its role as the lifeblood of global trade. So, the battle lines have been drawn. A silent war is being fought, not with soldiers, but with spreadsheets and gold vaults. And as the dust settles, one single question is going to define the 21st century. Will we live in the twilight of the dollar's kingdom, or will we witness the dawn of gold's new empire?